Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Have a very good time, my dear and esteemed students, and welcome again to this lesson number 12. And this lesson will be the last lesson in this book. I mean, in the course book. And this lesson related to listening. It has the title of Predicting Content and Listening for Gist. So let's do the exercises or tasks required from us. Let's do the first one. Practice number A. This practice says, look at the pictures. What do you think each person does for a living? What do you think each person does for a living? So here we have 4 pictures and we want to guess their jobs. I mean the jobs of these people. So the first one, in the first picture we can see a woman, and this woman is a doctor. I think she is a doctor. What about the following one, number 2? This man is an engineer. He is an engineer. What about the following, number 3? She is a secretary. She is a secretary. And number 4, we have a young man who carries a book in his hand. So he must be a student. He is a student. So the first one is a doctor, the second is an engineer, the third is a secretary, and the fourth one is a student. Now, practice number C. Listen and complete the table. Here we have a table. This table contains 4 columns according to the person, and on the left we have country, job, English is important because so and so, and then skills used most. So first of all, let's listen, and after listening we can complete this table. Number 1, the first conversation. English for me is very important indeed. I am a doctor working in India. English is important for me because it's the international language of medical science. If I want to keep up to date with the latest techniques and products, I must be able to read and understand English. English is one of the official languages of India. So I learned it in school, but I have to read regularly to keep up my knowledge of vocabulary. The second conversation is, English is important for me in my work. I am an engineer from Libya, and right now I'm working on a very big engineering project. In fact, the project is so big that we use a lot of foreign workers as well as Libyans. There are some from Europe and some from Asia. I don't speak their languages, and they don't speak Arabic. So we have to communicate in English. The project would be impossible without a common language. Now, let's move to the third conversation. The third one says, I am a secretary and I live in Cairo. So my first language is Arabic. When I left school, I got a job in an office in Cairo, and I went to English classes in the evenings. I did that for a year, and I passed an exam at the end. My salary was nearly 10 times higher than it was before I learned English. I use English for translating documents and writing letters. And sometimes I have to answer the telephone in English. I enjoy my work and I earn good money. So that's why English is important for me. Now, number 4, or the fourth conversation. Well, my country, Denmark, is a very small country, and nobody else speaks Danish. So if I didn't learn English, we'd have nobody to talk to. Danes like to travel and talk to people from other countries. Danish and English are similar in some ways. So learning English is not difficult at all. And nearly everyone in Denmark speaks English well. There are not many books or magazines in my language, so it's good to read foreign books and magazines. I like to understand the words of songs when I hear them on the radio, too. I am a student, so I also need to read English for my studies. Now, after reading these 4 conversations, we can come back to practice number C to fill in the spaces or to complete the table with the proper information. So here we can see the answers. Let's talk about the first one, the first character, the first person. The first one is a doctor. So the country is India. Job, doctor. English is important because it's the international language of science. What about skills used most? Reading. Now the second column talks about the engineer or an engineer in this table. The country is Libya. Job is engineer. So this person is an engineer. English is important because the project he is working on uses a lot of foreigners. So if they want to communicate with each other, they need English. And skills used most: speaking and listening. What about the third one, secretary? The country is Egypt. Job is secretary. And English here is important because it means that she earns more money. Skills used most: reading, writing, speaking and listening. The last one, the country is Denmark. Job, student. And English is important for this guy because Denmark is a small country and not many people learn Danish. Skills used most: speaking, reading, and listening. Now after doing this exercise number C, we can conclude this part of lesson number 12 Thank you for being patient, my students. Thank you for listening to me carefully, and goodbye.